Why, hi there, I'm Ron Chuckin, and my body has kind of finally healed. And it's time once again for this week on the E for this April 17th, 2019. And joining me is the Laundry King of Saugus, Massachusetts, the Commissioner of the Eastern Massachusetts Roller Hockey League, Dave Gardner. How are you today, Dave?
Well, sun's out, so that's good, but I can't get my webcam to work, so things are going to look kind of funky this week, and we've been playing for 20 minutes with it. That's why we're live, but whatever. It's what it is today, so we're going to have a webcam type of show.
It's a Monday. It's a Monday.
It's a Monday.
It's a Monday, even though it's a Wednesday. So you probably want to give people an extra reminder to get their payments in.
Yeah, it's the end of the season, so coming up on both, actually. Tuesday's going into the playoffs next week. More info on that, so please get your payments in on that because it is the end of the season. And Saturday is 2 more weeks, and we start up a new season right after that, well, after the playoffs. So both seasons are coming down, but mostly right now, Tuesday, because we're actually wrapping up the Tuesday season in the next 2 weeks, and then we want to pick a new one. So I just want to make sure everybody's paid in full before we go into the playoffs. So when we start picking new teams next season, if you're not paid in full, you may or may not be in next season, and I don't want to put anybody at risk. So
yeah, that's not
payment information out there if I can. That's all. So
okay, so if you haven't got your payments made to Dave so far for Saturdays or Tuesdays, get them in as soon as possible. Or else Dave will let me pick the name of the Tuesday teams, and I guarantee you they're going to be heroes of the Montreal Canadiens. You do not want to be skating for the Maurice Richards, and I will, we're going to not even going to acknowledge that Chris Nyland played for Montreal because he played for the Bruins.
That's right.
Guy Lafleur, Maurice Richard.
Oh, that'd be good stuff. And before we get to our responses here, real quick, I do want to say that I know I've been streaming a lot of that Action PC hockey game, the Hockey Strategy Simulator, and some people they're making fun of me about it, whatever. And some people are actually asking about what it is. But what's kind of neat about it is you're the Montreal fan and the Boston fan, and what Ron and myself are talking about doing is having one of us, and maybe we'll alternate, play the game and broadcast, and the other one do color, because we tried it out the other day, whereas we could do a Google Hangout and show my screen playing the game, and I could broadcast and Ron could do color. So we could do a Boston-Montreal game and have a little bit of that going on.
Looking forward to that. And I enjoyed your Hollywood Stars charity game yesterday.
Yeah, I did. I put together a team of the fictional hockey players, I guess you would call it. So I got a lot of Mighty Ducks players. I got a lot of guys from Slapshot and the Chiefs on there. Dean Youngblood, Ross the Boss Ray, Glatt from Goon, a couple of Mystery Alaska players, and there might be one other movie that I can't think of. But yeah, I just assembled them on a team. And I'm going to have them play some random NHL games, NHL teams. So I had them play the Hartford Whalers from 87, 88 the other day, and it was a bloodbath. There was so many penalties in this, quote, charity game. And it was the Hollywood Stars pulling it out on a goal by Gunnar Stahl in the second half. And they won that one 2-1 over the Whalers. So it's just some goofy fun I'm having with that game.
You didn't see the joke I put on about the Canadians politely withdrawing?
No, not yet. We'll play the Canadians.
Politely sending you the check for $25,000 for people to eat good poutine.
Well, what I need to do is I need to, when I put together these teams, these fictional teams, you basically just copy and you're just changing names of players is what you're doing. So I don't know if they're really strong or if they're a really weak team. So I don't want to stop playing powerhouses and have them get destroyed. And I don't want to have them playing weak teams and crushing them. So I'm kind of bouncing around between the teams to see what would be good matchups and if I got to adjust anything in the stat structure to make it a fair game. That's all.
And of course, all this to bring it back to a head, and before you get to the sponsors, is so you can do a couple Eastern Massachusetts Roller Hockey League All-Star teams.
Yeah, I do plan on adding some EMRHL players into that game and doing it up myself. In fact, some of the older guys, Jay Frazier's and Mike Strauss, and guys that started with us back in 1999, and they played quite a few years with us. They were asking for a classic team. So I think it's only fair that I do put together an EMRHL classic team, and then have some new players, and maybe have 3 or 4 EMRHL teams of some kind of category, and then I'll have them play out like we did with the wrestling that I haven't got back to yet, but I still want to get to do that. So I think it'd be good fun is to be able to broadcast with EMRHL players in that game and have a good time and see how that pans out.
All right, who's our sponsors?
Yeah, so again, I want to kick things off with Paramount Wealth Strategies, also Everett Bank, Alpha Omega Hobby, they're in Quincy, Massachusetts, Bates Insurance in Medford, the Local 103, the IBEW, East Boston Savings Banks. I got their East Boston Savings Bank, that's their jersey behind me, One Call Ventilation, Aces Games and More in Revere, and I have the Aces Games and More jersey on right here. And also to Ernie Paredes, Ernie 11, who's got his hockey repair business up and running. And so, yeah, he's been doing a lot of work at the rink repairing gloves and pads and straps and the whole bit. So, yeah, go talk to Ernie if you need anything fixed at the rink. He's doing a really good job. He's actually making nameplates for people to put on the back of their own jerseys and things like that. So Ernie's one of our newest sponsors, and he has the new kind of the Calgary Flames look, the red, gold, and white jerseys that haven't come in yet, but we'll be using them this summer.
Awesome. And so don't forget to visit our fine sponsors, or if you missed all that, some of them, such as the IBEW and the Eastern Boston Savings Bank, are sponsors on Nesson for Red Sox games, not after last night's 8-0 shellacking. Would you want to watch the Red Sox right now? But hey, it's a long summer and you never know. So always visit the sponsors. And so let's get right to it. Saturday games for April 13th, the normal sextuple header, which has nothing to do with being dirty. We started at 7 o'clock with the National Treasure 4, Face-Off 3, and the algorithm is right. That's a low-scoring game in this league, in which Joe Estrella had more goals than anyone else. That's how bad this game was. You would think that people would, after several weeks of this, would know what the algorithm likes in their coffee. Just saying that. Ref Kruger gave Mills teams 3 power plays, but not even that helped. Jeremy Raymond bought new skates, but apparently bought women's by mistakes. So, but look out 2022 in China for a new figure skater, right?
Yeah, Joe Estrella, the defenseman, just fired a couple shots in from center and beat Stephen Mills, who had a tough game in net on, at least to start in that first period. He only let up 4 goals on the day, which is really good. But yeah, that first period, Joey was just picking them apart, was just some wrist shots, and then he settled down. And it was a close game, so it got a little testy, little whiny out there. And Jeremy Raymond had some new skates. Captain of National Treasures, I had some new skates, but he was quite vocal, let's say, over every little thing. So we're wondering what kind of skates he did buy. But anyway, yeah, it was a good goaltending duel, actually, between Mike Forty, the new goaltender, and Stephen Mills, 4-3. That's a very low-scoring game. But, yeah, so it turned out to be, who would have thought? Joe Estrella, pair of goals. That turned out to be the difference.
There you go. The 8 o'clock game was our Woolworths game of the day, as Raising Arizona won by a nickel 10-5 over Ghost Rider. It felt like a 3-period power play. It was long and boring, too. Ghost Rider to a man, we're sleepwalking through this game. The only thing that kept us awake is Kruger's yelling.
Yeah, I mean, Kruger wins by 5 goals. He's still not happy. He's still upset at something we don't know. He's just that's just what he does. But after the game, he's usually fine, so that's good. But yeah, Ghost Rider's in a slump right now. They were one of the favorites early in the season. They come out of gate, on fire, playing really well, getting all facets of the game, offense, defense, goaltending, and now I mean, there was a big love fest going on. These guys would hang out. They would all sleep at each other's houses on Friday nights and have hot dogs and watch Netflix. And now I don't even know if they're getting along anymore. In fact, there's 4 of them not showing up on Saturday for the game already. That's how bad things have got with Ghost Rider.
Ever since Bobby Ewing was caught in the shower, TV on Friday nights has never been the same. At 9 a.m., another defensive fest between Snake Eyes and Kick-Ass. Both goalies played out of their minds in a low-scoring game. John Gonville and JT Nichols each had 2 goals in the 4-3 win for Snake Eyes. Tyler Reed should have had 4 or 5 by himself. Kick-Ass got nothing from Fab and Devin.
Yeah, another low-scoring game on Saturday. I don't know what's going on with that. These are a couple of the teams in the bottom bracket per se, because we are playing the 3 different brackets going into the playoffs to set up the final standings. And so there's a couple teams at the bottom, and they kind of showed. I mean, it's just it's a game that we've already forgot about. Let's move on.
All right, since we weren't together last week because one of us was injured and it wasn't you, this is the second week of the controlled schedule. How's that going for you?
I think we've had some pretty good games. I mean, you look at the scores. I mean, you're pitting the top 4, the middle 4, and the bottom 4 for 3 games going into the playoffs. What it does, it gives you a chance to play against people that are close to you in the standings. And that way they're, first playing 8th, whatever. But you got first and second, first and third, first and fourth. Now you've given the top teams one more crack at finishing in first place. And then same at the bottom. You get teams getting a chance to move up or down against like teams. And it seems to work out well. We seem to have 3 better games at the end of the season going into the playoffs.
In theory, it seems like a great idea. And better games done probably better than the 10 a.m. contest between Gone in 60 Seconds and Leaving Las Vegas. An 11-10 overtime thriller won by Gone in 60 Seconds. This game was real fun to watch, but not so much to play if you were a goalie in this game. Hayes and DePrato went bad goal for bad goal in a headbanging contest. The game mercifully ended in overtime when Spulio scored on Hayes. Sticks went flying, and if Trump wants to build his wall, he should start behind these 2 guys.
2 of our more reliable goalies just laid an egg. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Goals were going in for every which way. There was no, solid goaltending play from 2 of our most reliable guys, and it was enjoyable. I don't know if I refereed, if I watched, or what I did, but it was fun to watch. It was just craziness happening, ball going in all times. 21 goals were scored, and none of them were particularly good goals. They was just everything was going in, and it's just how it went. And there's no sense getting upset at anything. It just was how the game went. And I do remember, like I say, Hayes and DePrato, 2 of our better goalies. And at the end of the game, I was walking by collecting jerseys. I saw Hayes, the goalie, half his equipment on, banging his head against the wooden wall over and over and over.
Well, at least these guys care about what they do.
I guess, but I mean, I wouldn't advise that. I mean, because there's some people that have such a bad game every week, they would definitely get a concussion from slamming their head against the wall.
That's right. At 11 a.m., Joey Davenport figured in all 5 goals as the Rumblefish down the Rock 5-3. First place Rumblefish rallied to beat the second place Rock. Some big saves by DePrato, and the third held the fort for the Fish. Mahoney and Carpentieri continued to be stake bit for the Rock.
Yeah, these are the top 2 teams right here. And actually, the Rock led after 2 periods. They led 2-1, and a late goal by the Fish in the second, and then 3 in the third. And this was a 1-goal game, right down to the wire there. Then a couple late goals put it away. But top 2 teams battling it out. Terrific game there. These guys should end up in the Final 4 if things go according to plan. Davenport, I mean, we got like 19 Davenports in the league. I mean, aunts and uncles, and I can't keep track of them all. Some are on teams, some are fill-ins, some watch. They all end up on the score sheet somehow. But yeah, he figured in all 5, and good for him. It's good for him.
At least Davenport's easy to spell. People who keep the score sheets. Last game on the day was the 12 noon one between Arsenal and Fast Times, and this one had it all and then some. This sounds like this game was everything in a bag of chips, as I say on my streams. Ciche Cacciatore saw his first EMRHL action in goal and played pretty well in a game that had absolutely no defense, as Arsenal down Fast Times at Ridgemont High 13-11. Gardner now knows how Louis feels after he had a goal taken away. Did you have a goal taken away, Dave?
I did. It was the end of the second period. And again, we're going to get all kinds of views on this goal, but somebody shot it from the side. It hit either a goalie or defenseman and went straight up in the air. And as it was coming down, one of the guys on the other team tried to bat the ball, and he missed it. And I was shocked that he missed it. And so as it was coming down, I had to wait for it to get below the crossbar, and it got below the crossbar, and I took a whack at it. And I got the ball. I was surprised I got it out of midair, and it hit the defenseman and the goalie and went in the net right before the buzzer went off. And so I was all excited that A, I hit it, B, it went in the net, and C, that it beat the buzzer. And the referee says that my stick was over the crossbar, no goal.
And the ref was promptly fired and sent to
No,
work in a honeydew as opposed to
I still ribbed him about it last night, and he swears that my blue stick was over the crossbar, and I swear that why would I hit it over the crossbar knowing it wouldn't be a goal that I waited. But whichever, we come back. It was a fantastic game. A lot of goals were scored. CJ played great. I know he let up 13 goals, but there was no defense. This was just one of those old fashioned, Wild West shootouts where just goals were going in from everywhere, and teams were just, the more you scored, the more you wanted to score. So nobody was really playing D, and it just turned into a crazy game that Arsenal hung on to win. 13-11, a lot of goals in that one. Fun game to play. It really was. Both teams had chances. And I hate to say that goalies played well in a 13-11 game, but it was just all offense all the time.
Yeah, if you have no defense, I mean, that could have easily been a 20-21 game or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't like they were shooting from half court and everything was going in. There was just a lot of ball movement and the whole bit. And just, there was some nice plays being made by the team. So
why don't you show us some standings and stats since we haven't done that in a couple of weeks?
Yeah, let's see if I can do that. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Let's see. Screen share. Let's go to my entire screen. No, application. How about this? All right.
How about that? Yes.
All right, cool. I'm getting better at this. All right, yeah. So Saturday, 12 games in, 2 games to go. Rumblefish on top with 20 points. Raising Arizona by virtue of their win. Okay, now Raising Arizona, if I go back here, that's the Dave Kruger team. I want to say that they're in the middle bracket, okay? But they've moved up into the top bracket. That still doesn't change who they're going to play. Okay, and that was made quite clear before this went up, that when we played the first 11 games, everybody played everybody. That's what we decided on for a schedule. So Raising Arizona, they have the easiest schedule now because they're playing middle of the pack teams. They've slid up into second place. The Rock, who was in second place with that loss, they fall back to third. And let me see. I forget who the other top teams were there. But anyway, so that's what we got going on right now. Ghost Rider slides down to 5th. National Treasure and Face Off are tied in the middle of the pack. And then you got the teams at the bottom there, leaving Las Vegas, Gone in 60, and Snake Eyes bringing up the rear. We take a look.
I see that Rumblefish needs just one more point over the next 2 weeks to clinch the regular season. Do teams get anything for winning the regular season?
No, it's just the top 4 get a bye is how that works. So what we do in the first week, the bottom 8 play out to eliminate 4, and that gives us our final 8, so to speak.
So there's no Tampa Bay Lightning award for the Rumblefish. And
no, there's not. Grateful. I mean, they will play the lowest seed in round 2. But again, if the bottom 4 get kicked out, I mean, Fast Times at Ridgemont High is your 8th seed right now, and that's a team you don't want to face. There's a lot of firepower on that team. So let's take a look at our league leaders right now on Saturday. So Mike DeVincent, look at him. Yeah, the guy who okays all our score sheets is leading the league in points.
Well, I would hope that he would okay his own score sheets.
Just point that out. Everybody used to kid me about how I used to lead the league in scoring because I'm the guy that did the stats. So Mike is helping me do the stats, and now he's leading the league in scoring. So just keep that in mind. Let me see. Followed by Tony Laverty, who will be a first-round pick next season, and his teammate Greg Wood. That's a team I played on this week. That was a fun time playing. CJ is having a monster year right now for Gone in 60 Seconds on that orange team. And also there's Mark Scribner and Nick Bertocci from Fast Times at Ridgemont High that we talked about the A seed. So there are some players on that team. Quick look at our goaltenders here. As no doubt top-seeded Rumblefish. They have the top-seeded goalie, Steven DePrato. Jeremy Russell for the Rock is playing really well. Scott Evans, he's still up at the top for Ghost Rider. He's had a tough season. He's still at the top. And the new guy, Mark 40, the old new guy, is up there as well. Just a little under 6, first season. Fantastic for a middle-of-the-pack team. So that's a look at some of the league leaders.
The Prado with an 883 save percentage. That would have won Vesnas in the 70s for crying out. I'm serious. That's incredible.
He's playing very well, but how hysterical is it that the game he subbed in on Saturday, he fell apart, that game against Hayes. It was hysterical. So
all right, let's get to Tuesday. And again, if you need to pay for the season, please do that now before the next season comes, or else it'll be me picking the season, the team names, and you're not going to want that. I'll find something that people don't like, and it may not necessarily be Montreal Canadiens related. At 6:30, Stopper My Mom will beat Rocky 6-3 without Fab. Stopper My Mom was able to pick up a win and steal the number 2 seed for the playoffs. Only 5 skaters showed up for Stop, but it was the right 5. AK did what he could in the Rocky net, but his team didn't score until the 3rd period, and by then it was too late.
Yeah, I don't know where everybody was last night. We even had a guy show up to fill in for Mike Caggiano, who's probably out for the rest of the season, but we had a guy fill in for him, but they still were missing 3 other guys. I don't know where this team was. No one told me they were missing guys. I figured that we'd have a full squad, and we didn't. And but they had the right 5 out there. They get out to a 4-0 lead after 2. Rocky came back with 3 in the 3rd, but it was a little bit late at that point there. So yeah, Stop moves up in the standings with a big win over Rocky.
Okay, 7:30. Cliffhanger 12 over the top 3. We're not sure what got into Cliffhanger over the last 2 weeks, but they've lit up the scoreboard and are the hottest team going in the playoffs. Meanwhile, Over the Top continues to fall apart like a house of cards, or CADS, as you pronounce it down there. Vegas odds have both of these teams at 300-1 to win the title, which is better than the odds you're going to get this year for both Tampa Bay and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, Over the Top, they were challenging for first place here at the end of the season. They've had an up and down go of it. They got a lot of firepower on that team. Cliffhanger has been wallowing in the basement, can't get it together. In the last 2 weeks, they're going out and they're scoring double digits. The offense is clicking. They're moving the ball around. Everything's working for them. They're all smiles. And so it's been a tale of 2 teams here. Cliffhanger, they were ready to, everyone was ready to quit the season a couple weeks ago, and now they're stomping through guys, and they're the hottest team going into the playoffs. Over the Top had a chance to close the gap, and they fell apart. They actually would have taken first place, I think, because Tango and Cash lost later on. But hindsight being what it was, Over the Top, they blew their chance at 7:30. So that's how that goes.
Someone's got to lose. And if you're going to lose bad. At 8:30, Lords of Flatbush 11, Rambo 5, 2 teams that also have a snowball's chance of helmet for the title. In the 8:30 game, Rambo continues to lack leadership both on and off the court, while the Lords captain was winless. I just read wrong. The new line of Belial and Collins was highly productive for Lords, and Andrew Conlon's new skates looked funny, but eventually he'll have to learn how to use them.
Yeah, Greg Smith, the captain of the Lords of Flatbush, has played about half the season. He's had a tough work schedule. He did not show up again last night, and they won. So the regular season ends, and poor Smitty is going to be the only player to not get a win this season, as his team has won, but not while he was there. Yeah, they moved up Dave Belial, sponsor of the jerseys with Paramount Wealth Strategies. He's on that team, and they slid him up to forward. And he was feeding Jeff Collins all night for a couple of big goals. So that forward line seemed to click pretty well. I think they put Moose back on defense, who's a solid defenseman. And I think he even scored from center. He's famous for that center court shot. And they racked up 11 goals on Rambo, who just doesn't have an identity right now. They score a lot of goals, and then sometimes they don't. And they either bring offense or defense. This week they brought neither, and so they're in a tough spot going into the playoffs. They really are.
All right, last game of the regular season, and that in the Tuesday League. Tango had clinched first thanks to the over-the-top choke at 7:30. They were kind enough to let the lowly Expandables win a rare game, especially when only 5 skaters showed up. Tango had a full squad with Steven DePreto getting a hat trick, but also going -9 on the night. Justin Guayman played great in the net as Tango and Cash still won, despite that terrible write-up, 13-9.
Yeah, well, Tango actually they lost the game, but they finish in first place, so they they had nothing to play for, so to speak. The Expendables are trying to get out of last place, but it doesn't matter when it comes to the playoff picture, and I'll explain why in 1 second. But yeah, they only had 5 skaters. They just skated with the 5, and they got some good goaltending from Justin. Tango did not play well. Actually, Millsy subbed in net, and he had a rough game in net as Mahoney, and Bobby just picked them apart. And there you go. I mean, but Tango had nothing to play for. That was the thing, you know. And so, and DePrato comes up. Well, you can tell when DePrato gets 3 goals, you know a team has nothing to play for. And so, Tango, despite the loss, they was finishing first place. And just how the end of the season ends.
All right, and so let's go through the final stats and standings for the Tuesday League.
All right, so we are in the Tuesday League right now. So as you can see, Tango and Cash, despite the loss, they actually went in. They kind of backed into first place. They've lost 2 in a row going in. So they were 8-1-3 going into the last couple weeks. They've dropped 2 in a row. Stopper My Mom Will Shoot. They slid into second place by virtue of their win at 6:30 over the top. That big loss earlier in the night. They fall back into third. Rocky with a loss. They stay in fourth. And then you can see Cliffhanger slides up in the 5th place up over Rambo. But what happens in the playoffs here, Ron, at least on Tuesdays, we allow the top team to pick their opponent. And then the next team picks their opponent until we have all 4 matchups, okay? So what happened was first place, Tango and Cash, they elected to play Lord to Flatbush. They said, just give me the 1-8 matchup. Stopper My Mom Will Shoot decided to play third place over the top.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So there's been a lot of chatter about that going on. So, yeah, Stopper My Mom Will Shoot decided to play the third place team. How cool is that? And then,
wow.
Yeah. So Rocky actually had a choice, but they don't have to play 5th place. So Rocky is playing the Expendables, if you can believe that. So they chose to play the last remaining team. And so we have a 5-6 matchup. So Cliffhanger and Rambo actually are our matchup in round 1, which is kind of a funny little matchup, a 5-6 matchup in round 1. But yeah, and that's what we did it for. Is just a lot of chirping, a lot of guys going blah, 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 blah. And so, okay, fine, we'll play you in the playoffs in round 1 because we can make that choice. And I think that's what makes it kind of interesting, makes it kind of fun.
So did the Rocky captain send 6 of Sam Adams over to stop him? My Mom Will Shoot?
I'm not sure what he did, but he's just like, we'll take the worst team that's left. So I said, okay, then you'll take the Expendables. So there we go. Okay. But anyway, So that's how the matchups are going to work. So it's Tango and Cash against Lord to Flatbush. Stopper My Mom Will Shoot against Over the Top. Rocky and the Expendables, and Cliffhanger and Rambo. That will be our matchups there. We take a look at the final. Look at our leaderboard here.
67 points.
Yeah, Danny Lopes, 67 points. Tyler Bova putting on a push at the end. Bova, he probably had 20 points in the last 2 games. So he put on a big push at the end to leap over Estrella and Arsenal and go into second. And then we get obviously Arsenal, Lucas, Mahoney had a couple of big weeks here at the end, including last night to slide up a little bit to get over Dennis Bertocci here. But yeah, it's some of the big names at the top here. We have Danny Lopes, 67 points. So they got smoked last night, but he still hung on to the scoring leader, scoring champion by 1 point. And we get on to the goaltenders. Oh, penalty minutes. Yeah, Joe Belfiore. He didn't play last night, by the way.
Yeah, but he still won the Chris Nyland Award. Congratulations.
He did. He wasn't there. Then take a look at our regular goalies here. Garrett, he actually only played half the season, maybe less. So we got to go into AK as our more regular goalie. So AK actually is the 4.35. He is probably our best regular goalie. All the subs did well. Vittorio, Biancardi, Todenkoff. These are all sub players right here.
AK with that 889 save percentage.
Yeah, AK did very, very well this season. You know, and again, they were all low-scoring games. He played for the TAN team, the Rocky team, and all their games are very, very low-scoring. So they didn't score a lot, but they didn't give up a lot, and that's where we stand right there.
So the playoffs start next Tuesday night.
Playoffs next Tuesday night. The schedule is up. Stopper My Mom Will Shoot takes on Over the Top to kick things off, and the rest of the schedule I posted online with the other matchups. So yeah, we
All
are good to
right.
go.
Well, that should take care of this week on the E, and we'll hopefully be none of us hopefully will get hurt and have to miss next week. But until then, for Dave Gardner, I'm Ron Chuckett. Thank you so much for watching. Keep an eye on Dave's channel for some exciting content coming up. You'll know he's had too much dunks when his golf people play against his hockey people. He'll
Yeah,
take care.
yeah. Well, Friday is could tomorrow and Friday could be big days because there's no Friday hockey this week. So after tonight, after I work tonight, I have a couple days of, a little bit of time, aside from finding goalies for Saturday, but that's another story. But so I plan on doing a bunch of streaming over the next couple of days, hoping to get the wrestling going. Maybe I'll get some EMRHL teams created in that hockey game and play it out. So yeah, just look for some fun things, hopefully, to be happening on the channel here. I'll try to post them up on Facebook and the whole bit. But yes, definitely subscribe to the channel so you get notifications when we go live and do some of our fun things. But the next couple of days, I got a little bit of time, and hopefully things won't get crazy, and I'll be able to do some fun online stuff.
All right. Until then, until next week, we'll see you on This Week on the E.